Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vikram Joshi, faculty member, Department of Management Technology, Shri Ramdeva College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. Welcome to the lecture on the topic Linear Log Regression Model. In linear log regression model, again we can see that here in this equation yi is in absolute terms, and here we are taking this xi, which is the independent variable, in relative terms. So this logarithmic variable is present on the right hand side, but on the left hand side normal variable in absolute terms is available. So in such cases, so when we have such type of equation wherein we are trying to find out the absolute change in y with respect to relative change in x, such type of model when we are fitting is called as linear log regression model. So many times we are interested in finding the percentage increase in x on absolute, or percentage change in x on absolute change in y. Then when we are interested in such type of analysis, then we can go with linear log regression model. So in linear log regression model we can see that this beta 2 is the slope coefficient which can be given by absolute change in y with respect to relative change in x, and that is why whenever we are making the or drawing the inferences about the slope coefficient associated with our variable, then we must always divide this slope coefficient by 100 to make the interpretation about the absolute change in y with respect to change in x. In log linear regression model, we multiply this beta 2 by 100 for making or drawing the inferences, but in linear log we have to follow the opposite, that is, when there is a log existing, then its coefficient must be divided by 100. So this you must always remember. Now for example, you can see here, if you obtain the regression equation linear log regression equation as yi is equal to minus 1537.403 plus 257.27001 ln x, that is logarithm of x, then how we can interpret about this? Assuming that this particular variable is significant, we can say that 1% increase in x will lead to 2.57 units or rupees increase in y value, because we are saying this as increase because this sign is plus. If this sign is minus, then we will say decrease, inverse relationship. So here we have divided the slope coefficient by 100. So this is how we must make the inferences, we must draw the inferences about the slope coefficients of various variable. So this is bivariate. We can have even the multivariate type of relationship. Sometimes it may also happen that your y value is in absolute terms, some of the values of your independent variable are in relative term, and some values are in absolute terms. Such type of model can also be fitted under this type of criteria. So these models are also called as semi-log models. Now we will see the example how to fit such type of linear log regression model. Now let us consider this Excel sheet. In Excel sheet you can see that there is data available. So there is an example, the demand for chicken in United States during 1990 to 2012 is presented to study the per capita consumption of chicken. Here y represents the per capita consumption of chicken, then x2 represents real disposable income per capita, x3 represents real retail price of chicken, x4 represents real retail price of pork, which is the substitute of chicken, then x5 is another substitute, real retail price of beef. So beef is also another substitute for chicken. Now they have computed one more variable, that is x6. This x6 is nothing but the composite real price of chicken substitutes per LB or C, which is a weighted average of the retail price of per LB of pork and beef, the weights being the relative consumption of beef and pork in total beef and pork consumption. So whatever is the consumption they observed of beef and pork, that they have taken as the weight and multiplied by its price, so that this is how they have calculated the weighted average of the substitutes of chicken, and that is represented by x6. So this is one variable they have computed. Now we'll load this particular data sheet in R Commander and see how we get the various results. Now first of all, import the data. So click on import, click on data first, then import data, then from Excel file I call this as dataset 1 and then OK. So here the Excel sheet linear log regression is opened. So I double click on this. Now this comprises of several worksheets. So this exercise 1 data I have stored in another file, that is work file, that is example 1 data. So I select this. OK. Now you can view the data set. So this data set 1 is now appearing in the data set, and you can view this data set. So if you click on view the data set, this is the data set. So this data set is now available here. So you can see this data, you can view this data. This comprises of y, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6. Now we are interested in fitting such type of equation. So your dependent variable, response variable, will be in absolute terms, and all your x values will be in logarithmic terms. So let us first convert these simple variables into logarithmic function variables. So for doing this, click on data, manage variables in active data set. So first we'll convert all the x variables into logarithmic functions. So click on x2, write the new name of this variable as say ln x2 in short. Then expression is, we are calculating the natural log, so log of x2, and then click OK. So you can see here this variable is now added, ln x2. Again, manage variables in active data set, compute new variable. Now here select x3 and then name this as ln x3 log of x3. OK. Then data, manage variables in the data set. Now x4, select x4, then rename this as ln x4 and make necessary changes in your expression to compute. Then next x5 and x6. So manage, compute, select x5. So x5, rename this as x5, ln x5, make again the changes. Again this is added, log of this value is added. Next data, manage variables in the data. So compute new variable. Now select x6, then x6. OK. So you can see here all the variables which I have computed recently, ln x2, ln x3, ln x4, ln x5, and lnxx, all these are now added in the dataset 1. Now we will proceed for fitting the regression equation. Now click on the statistics, then fit model, linear regression. Now here you select your y, which is in absolute terms, and then now I select all the variables at a time. Okay. Now here you can see this is the regression equation. Here y is the dependent variable which is in absolute terms, and rest of the other independent variables are in the logarithmic form: log of x2, log of x3, log of x4, and log of x5, log of x6. Here the descriptive statistics is presented in terms of minimum, maximum, first quartile, second quartile, etc. So this descriptive statistics is also presented here. Now this is the output, the regression output. Now you can see that here all the variables, log of x2, log of x3, x4, x5, x6, all are here. They are significant because p value is less than 0.05 or 0.01 or 0.10. So almost all the values are less than 0.05, so all are significant at 5% or 1% level of significance. Here your multiple R squared is 99.06, F statistics is 356.7, p value is again low, so all the goodness of fit criteria are fulfilled. Here you can see that all the variables are also significant, right? So prima facie it seems that this model is a perfect model, this is the most suitable model, right? And if you go for further some of the further diagnostic tests as well, then it will happen rather I can say that you will see all the various conditions of goodness of fit seem to be highly satisfied. For example, if I plot basic diagnostic plot, then again you can see here that the normal QQ curve. Okay, so here what you can see, now see here this is your residual line, and there are certain points of residual which are going far away from this particular line. Then if I check this QQ normal QQ plot, which also shows the normality, as I said in my previous discussions that all the points must lie very very close to this particular central dotted line, but here you can see that there are certain points which are going away from this particular line. So here if I make this diagnostic test, here I can observe that normality condition is not fulfilled. Let us check the even histogram for the residuals. So if I here first of all, for that I will need to add this residual value. So if I add this residual first, and then so residual is now added, I can now go into the graphs, histogram and residual for this model. Okay, so you can see this graph seems to be skewed, even though it appears to be normal. But see here, if you see this graph carefully, if you plot hypothetical normal distribution curve, this curve will go like this. So it seems that it is leftly skewed, it is not a normal type of curve. The skewness can be here easily observable, and that is why even though the various conditions seems to be fulfilled of goodness of fit, still if we perform this some of the diagnostic tests, we can easily make out from this model that this model is not the appropriate model. Now if you again review this particular output properly, what you can see, Now you have to diagnose the problem. The first problem, actually when I saw this model, after seeing this model, I am able to diagnose this model because as I said in my previous discussion, if you are getting very high multiple R squared value, it should be an eye opener for you. Here the value is 0.9906. This value is very high. It is almost near to the 100%. So 100% influence is explained by this. It is not possible. So when this value is so strong, so high, it actually from this you can infer that there might be a problem of multicollinearity, and that is definitely there in this particular model because this value is very high. Now how to rectify this particular model is again one of the challenge. Now as I said, I can easily make out where the problem is existing. See, without making any diagnostic test, I can make out the problem first of all arises or lies in this value, say x6. This x6 is what? X6 is nothing but the composite real price of chicken substitute, which is taken as the weighted average of two things. One is real retail price of pork and real retail price of beef. That means these two variables are incorporated in this model twice, because when I am taking x4, when I am taking x5, these two variables are there, but x6 is nothing but again the linear combination of x4 and x5, and that is why, since these two variables are incorporated here twice, this has created the problem of multicollinearity. Now you can check this through this also, numerical diagnostics and variance inflation factors. See the problem. See here, the value corresponding to ln x6 is very high, and as I said, this variance inflation factor, which represents the multicollinearity, it must be less than 10 in all the cases. If it is more than 10 in some case, then that variable must be eliminated. So as I said, x6 is comprising of linear combination of x4 and x5. It has created the problem of multicollinearity in your model, and that is the reason this R square value is also very high. So since this value is very high, I need to eliminate this x6 variable. So again I go into statistics, I click on statistics, click on fit model, linear regression. Now I eliminate this x6 and then click OK. Now after clicking OK, again I obtain new model, another model, and this model is without x6 but comprising of x2, x3, x4 and x5. Now the moment I eliminated this, what I am observing that x5 is significant but at 10% level of significance. So 10%, whether we should take into account or incorporate into the model or not, again ultimately it is the decision of the researcher, but many a times we accept the 5% as the threshold. Now here we can see three variables are significant at 1% level of significance, but this value is very high, so we can eliminate this value, that is x4. So without checking for these things, since these two variables are not significant, we must eliminate this, because that is going to mislead our results and the observations, and that is why first I eliminate this x4. So again I click on statistics, fit model, linear regression, and now I first eliminate x4 and again OK. Now here what I see, here now almost all the variables, now this multiple R squared has reduced to some extent. Now it is 92.29. in previous case again it was again almost 98.29, and now it is again same. So even though I have eliminated that variable, this value is remaining unchanged, and also this value is not significant at 5% level of significance, but yes, it is significant at 10% level of significance. Now the question is, as far as goodness of it is concerned, again whether I should accept this or not. So for this, what we can do again, we'll go for checking for variance inflation factors. Now here again what I see, variance inflation factor is very high in case of two variables ln x2 and ln x5, and in case of ln x5 it is 33.17. that means this is again creating a problem. It is a variable of concern, and that is why we should eliminate again this x5, because here also even if we check x5, even though it seems to be significant, the probability associated with this is comparatively higher than this. So we will now eliminate this x5 as well, even though the various conditions are fulfilled with regard to goodness of fit. Now I click on statistics. Now I'm eliminating x5. So regression equation, now eliminate this x5. Okay, now after eliminating this, now you can see all are significant at 1% level of significance, x2 and x3. That means x4, x5 and x6, they do not play significant role in predicting the demand for chicken or consumption, per capita consumption of chicken in US. That is what we can conclude here, and that is why if some variable is not significant, there is no point in incorporating that variable into our multiple regression model, and that is why we must eliminate it. So here we can see that these two variables are significant. Here now multiple r squared is also 97.95. Now if I calculate the variance inflation factor for this, then this variance inflation factor will be less than 10. So the condition is now almost maximum diagnostic test criteria now will be fulfilled. Even you can check for rest of the things, like you can even go for graphical basic diagnostic test. Here now you can see that almost all the points except one or two or few, they are now going beyond, right? But as far as this VIF is concerned, multicollinearity seems to be not existing, even though here in correlation we see that there is a high correlation. But so in this case we can ignore some of these values, right? Now since here data points are low, if we go for more data points, possibly such type of correlation problem will also be eliminated. But we can ignore this, even though here we see that x3 and x2 seems to be highly correlated, but we can ignore this because here variance inflation factor is lower than 5. So now this is your a right fit model that we can say. And again we will do one more thing, add observation statistics to data. Then okay, we will calculate the residual. Let us check what happens to the histogram of this residual value. So now here better than the previous one, right? So here almost it seems like normal, but better than the previous one. Like little bit skewness is still existing, but it is better than the previous one. Now here so we can now proceed with this particular method. Now this is one approach that I explained. Even you can fit log model, you can fit any other type of models as well for this. It is not necessary that even though I have proved that this is fulfilling all the condition of diagnostic tests, but it may also happen that there are some other approaches that can also be used for this purpose. So this is just one of the assumption with which I proceed, and I believe that such type of thing can happen, and that is why we are fitting this model and testing for diagnostics. So amongst the various other models, we are trying to fit the most appropriate model. Now how we can interpret this? So we can say that 1% change in x2 leads to 0.16, because we need to divide this by 100. So 1.06 unit change in y value, right? So if your x2 changes by 1%, then this real disposable if your real disposable income per capita changes by 1%, then that will lead to increase the per capita consumption of chicken by 0.16 units. So this is how we can make the inferences based on this particular output. Similarly, if x3 is your x3 is your real price of chicken. So here real price of the chicken, if increases by 1%, then that may lead to reduce the per capita consumption by 0.10%. So this is how we can make the inferences 0.10 units. This is how we can make the inferences about the per capita consumption of chicken on the basis of these variables. Now here, as far as substitutes which are mentioned, the prices of substitutes are mentioned. Real price of chicken, then real price of pork, retail price. This pork and beef, they are now considered as the substitutes, but these substitutes, that doesn't seem to be significant in determining the prices of chicken. That means even though they are named as substitutes, they may not be perceived as the substitutes by the population of US. So this is how we can make fit the linear log model for any particular data. So ultimately it is the discretion of every researcher while fitting any particular model. So he must always go with he must always check the data. See, there are certain simple tips which I would like to give to identify the appropriateness of the model. Whenever any data is available, especially when you are having bivariate type of relationship, then you can fit scatter plot for that particular data, or simply plot the curve for that particular data. In bivariate it is easily possible, but in multivariate it is very difficult, and that is why if you plot the scatter plot, then that will give you the basic idea on the basis of the movement of various we can say pattern of the points that you are plotting on that particular graph, that whether those points are increasing linearly or non-linearly. If they are increasing non-linearly, then how they are changing? They are changing in parabolic form or hyperbolic form or in any other form that you can see on the basis of your own observation, and on the basis of that you can accordingly fit the linear or non-linear type of models. So these logarithmic models, they normally falls under non-linear type of models. So we can fit even various such other models as well. So depending upon your requirement, depending upon the pattern, the trend of movement of that particular variable, you must go with plotting, or you must go with fitting the appropriate model. So ultimately it is the researcher's insight, his experience, his knowledge, his skill about identifying how to fit or how to decide upon identifying the appropriateness of the model. So this is all about the linear log regression model. Hope you understood how to fit linear log model. So thank you very much for your patient listening. Bye.